Instagram? You doing things? You showing live yet on Instagram? Oh, there it goes. Yes. Just ticked on. Okay. Yep, there it is.
All right. We're live on Instagram. Anything else?
Facebook and the YouTube.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the 034 Motorsport live chat, round 100. Our 100th episode since we started doing these during quarantine.
March 2020.
In 2020, yeah. Originally, it was just I don't know. I mean, I guess like this type of like live blog stuff started getting popular in 2020 with COVID happening.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, everybody felt really isolated and nobody was in any offices or talking to anybody at the time. So
USP Motorsports was doing these, and
yep.
We were watching those, and I got to be on. They invited me to be on an episode, and so we thought, let's just do a couple, and they went so well. The feedback has been so great that we've just kept doing them, and I honestly look forward to doing them every week. I really like it. I love talking about our company, our products. I love that you guys ask questions about it, and I think for me and Nate, but something that I like facts and accurate information, and so this really gives us the chance to put out there correct factual information, no BS, kind of cut through all the marketing stuff, and really discuss tuning, our industry, and just an actual accurate fact-based way, where we kind of cut out all the fluff and the misconceptions.
Well, we're so immersed in this every day too. Like it's easy to kind of just assume people understand or know what we're talking about all the time, or what
right.
how we're putting the products out there for you guys. It's really been nice and eye-opening to kind of get the type of questions a lot of you are asking back, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe we need to better explain some of our, the why the things are the way they are, why, we say one thing and somebody else might say another.
Yeah. There's been so many instances where we've said something on this that's really never been said before, and within days or weeks, you start hearing it out in the world, in the community, and that to us is the ultimate. And we don't even care if we get credit for it or whatever. It's just the fact that a topic is being discussed more accurately it's good for the industry. It's good for 034 Motorsport, because the world we operate in is strictly dictated by physics, and we don't really get to go out there and make up stuff about our products and the performance. So if everyone's talking about it more accurately, that's more of that's a field that we can play on, and the rules are more in our favor because we're talking about what's really going on. So anyways, thank you for letting us wax philosophically about that, and we will jump into some questions that are pouring in. This is a good start off. How does your Mk7 breather plate work? What is the main flaw in the OEM system that your plate solves? So this there was some controversy this week on Facebook about our plate and comparing our plate or our breather. This is a breather plate provision, comparing ours to a competitor product. There's a competitor product that has a tube that connects from here back to the valve cover, and some people on Facebook were saying that because we eliminated that tube, there's no way oil will drain out of this. Well, the way things never drain from the top, right? So a tube connected to the top of this would not be able to drain anything. So then it begs the question, well, what is that tube for? And there was some pretty basic misunderstanding of how the breather system worked that we were able to address and I think clear up. So the tube that goes and connects is to a separate, well, it's like over here, and it connects to a separate port that goes down into the engine block, which is the factory PCV system. So as the crankcase pressure develops inside the engine block, the factory created a PVC provision, which a PCV, which is basically PCV is a system that controls crankcase pressure, and so the factory PCV system. Did I say PVC at first?
You lost me at the P's and the C's.
The PCV, anyways, comes up and goes to this port. And inside the block is the factory air oil separator mechanism. Here's the problem. It don't work. Okay.
Not enough.
The entire reason we have all of this is because the factory PCV system doesn't work. So when we designed our breather plate assembly, the last thing we wanted to do is to connect the poorly functioning factory PCV system. So we eliminated that. And just about every other company who's come up with this solution has done the same. And most importantly, Volkswagen Racing did this.
I was wondering if you're going to
mention that. In their official race cars.
You can literally look at any of the DCR cars and
we've raced, some factory Volkswagen Audi vehicles, and we've had the pleasure and fortune of learning a lot from how the factory did it. So then if you look at the factory PCV diagram system, it makes it look like if you disconnect that, there's no way air can get out of the block, and this is basically sealing off the engine. Well, that's not true, because inside the cylinder head is oil, and that oil has to get back down to the sump. And the sump is where all the oil resides, and that's where the oil pump pickup is. And so there are all these oil galleyways that go down from inside the cylinder head where this connects. So the bottom of this and these perforated holes connect to the air that's inside the cylinder head. That air is connected to the engine block through all these oil galleyways. So pressurized air from the block can travel up through these oil galleyways, which are not sealed off by oil or anything. I mean, it's just allows oil to drain.
Yeah, they're essentially like half-inch tubes all around the.
They're way bigger than they need to be.
From top to bottom.
Air moves freely through that while oil is draining, and that's how the crankcase pressure enters our plate here through these holes, and then goes inside what we call the doghouse, which has an air oil separator mechanism inside here that sends clean, fresh crankcase air back into the intake system. Well, it goes into our catch can and then back into the intake system. Yeah. This is an excellent way to ensure that you keep all the oil out of your intake system. It's proven. We've tested it on track. Volkswagen Racing tested it extensively, used it in racing. We haven't really reinvented the wheel here. We've just executed it very well at a reasonable price in a very high quality fashion. So the one competitor product that does connect to the factory PCV, if you've got that product on your car and it's working, then great. But that doesn't. It might mean that it works well enough, but it doesn't mean it's better.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that everything else is invalid, because that's the way they chose to design their part.
So if they were able to make that work, great. But for us, getting rid of the factory PCV system was an improvement in this regard. So that's why we did it this way. And again, we know it works. We tested it. It's
we got rid of the PCV system. We got rid of their oil separator path.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah, it's not like we've eliminated their whole.
Right. And Nate's exactly right. Really, the PCV is this air oil separator that doesn't even work. That's why you get the huge puffs of smoke out the tailpipe. All right. I think we addressed that. Chris Murphy, hello. I have a B8.5 Allroad and was wondering when we can see Javad's calves.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some more in the shop shots, I guess, so we can get the.
It's getting warm outside. I did wear pants today, but this weekend I wore shorts several times. So maybe in a month you can come down, Chris. I'll show them off to you. Will there be any issues with the stock PCV system with Stage 3 on B9? Is there a need for a catch can? We are developing and will be releasing a catch can for the 3.0T S4 soon. You can run Stage 3 just fine. Really, the issues with PCV have less to do with what turbo you're running, and they have to do with when you start really going fast around corners. And oil, the centripetal force starts sending oil into different places in the engine, which then get pumped out.
Yeah, I mean, you do get a little more blow-by with more and more power. So your crankcase pressures and the volume of gas you're moving through there is going to be higher. But I mean, to that end, we haven't yet seen the need for it. Once we determine there is a need for it, we'll work on it.
I mean, there's no need. You can install stage 3 and drive around. If you're going on track, we have observed oil coming out of the crankcase system into the intake system on track.
Well, that's even stage 1.
That's on a stock car.
Yeah.
But Nate's right. I mean, the amount of crankcase pressure and volatility inside the crankcase does go up proportionate to how much power you're making. You know, there's some correlation there. But no, you don't have to like. You know, we have not made a catch can a requirement for stage 3. That's not something we've done. And if you're gonna, you know, say that that's a requirement, then there's so many other things. You know, it would just open the floodgates of modifications that aren't actually needed, but would certainly be nice to have. Is there a need for a larger throttle body on the B9 3.0T? Any gain from more flow? You know, there's no need for it. It's possible that it makes more power. I know our favorite custom tuning guy released some kind of cryptic information this week about it. It's certainly something we're going to look into, and there's always some power to be had by making the throttle body bigger, but it's not needed. I mean, we're making 720 crank.
Define needed.
It's possible that a bigger throttle body will pick up 5, 10, 15 horsepower. I mean, we don't know. We would have to test it. But it's not going to like revolutionize, you know. It could be enough power that you might notice it, and it's definitely something we're going to look into.
Just like we have on all of our other platforms.
But, you know, I'll just warn anyone, you know, that source is not the most reliable and a little hypey. So, but sure, if you're into tuning your 3.0T, I wouldn't stress about the throttle body right now. There's plenty of other great stuff you can do.
Yeah. And
then just keep your eye out for something that we or another reputable company does. I think you'll see more coming. How many people have flashed stage 3? I don't think we would like disclose that, but it's quite a few.
Yeah.
Actually, more than we thought that we would sell
this quickly on.
You know, in the first week.
Yep. Because obviously it's a big chunk of hardware. It's you gotta have some supporting mods for it. So.
It's the feedback from customers has been really great and thrilling to hear, and just people just like, holy fuck, you know, like how do you like it? Holy fuck.
Yeah. And these are in like I want to say like we talk like demographics, but the SQ5s honestly have been kind of the earliest adopters of that.
Yeah, I mean they can use all the power they can get. What's up, guys? Any word on the release of the turbo inlet for the B9? Any powder coat color options? Thank you. We're not planning on doing any colors, not anytime soon. Our SuperDuper B9 3.0T throttle body inlet, which will support the TT710. It's unfortunately been delayed about 2 months. So this is something that we hope we could release in like August. So I'm sorry, it sucks. It was bad timing with 3.0T. There aren't a lot of good options in the market, unfortunately. So people are going to have to kind of make do. We can, if you really, really want one, we can 3D print them for you in like a production 3D printed plastic part. You know, so this would be like a lifetime.
It's an OEM. It's an OEM.
Not this wouldn't be like PLA or anything. It's I don't know what is the.
It's a nylon. It's some engineering nylon.
It's actually what like
I don't know the exact material they are using.
Like big 3 auto manufacturers use this in production parts on factory cars. We can 3D print them for about $400 each. That's our cost. If you really want one, I'd be happy to just pass that on. And so that's something we can do. If you're interested, shoot us an email and we'll see. They're not cheap to do, unfortunately. I'm not encouraging anyone to spend $400 on an inlet that will probably cost less than half that. Yeah. But if you really want the best inlet
right now,
that's not on the market yet.
Yeah.
And that's what we did all our testing and development with is a 3D printed.
Yep.
SuperDuper
the exact same material and
something about SuperDuper throttle body on a C7 3.0T. I don't know where we're at on that. I mean,
I know
it's something we're working on.
Test fitting stuff up last week. Kind of doing some final test fits.
I think on the A6, was it the A6? It hits. There's some extra thing that hits.
I don't know where it was.
Yeah.
That's just me like walking past a car that were bolting stuff over.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a little ways out. We may have to cast a different, adapter provision.
I don't see why the motors are the same, but
No, I know,
haven't
but
looked
it's
at
something is different.
Okay.
That ours wouldn't even fit, like not
Okay.
even close. And there's that bracket that you bend, and it wasn't even that.
There's that metal bracket above. That's just the solenoid plate.
Yeah, ETA on our B9 3.0T high pressure fuel pump. Also about August is what we're looking at. That's a rough ETA. We're working on it, and ours will be a piston upgrade. You won't have to buy a whole new pump.
Right.
Will you guys be doing TT 710 numbers for the B9 SQ5, like quarter mile performance stuff? Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. We are going to be putting a 710 on our in-house SQ5 that Nick owns, and the idea is to go, inspire SQ5 owners at what those cars can do. Any more content coming for S4.0T? Yes. We are in the process of hiring a videographer, so we are interviewing candidates for that right now. But once we have a videographer on staff, that will be one of the first projects, is jumping on. We have lots of footage. We just need it edited and put together. Are you going to be doing a full open intake for B9 3.0T? Yes, we have a very high flowing, what we would call 1,000 horsepower intake coming. And it will be kind of our S34 style, like we've done for other applications, and it'll be full SuperDuper. So we'll have a bigger SuperDuper air filter that goes into a very big silicone hose that connects to our SuperDuper cast inlet, and that will be fully engineered and supported to flow for any of the kind of the hybrid options up to over 1,000 horsepower. Our current intake solutions are good, and they work well at these power levels, but there is some flow restriction that starts to come into play. The difference isn't going to be huge, but it could be 5, 10, 15 horsepower at the highest levels. Once you kind of above that 600-700 horsepower range. Any updates on the B9 S4 S5 strut brace bolts that keep stripping the heads? So some customers are having a problem when they're torquing. It's a bevel flanged M8 bolt with an Allen provision, and at the torque ratings, we've been selling these for like 6 or 7 years, but apparently it's becoming a little more common. So we're looking into supplying a different bolt with a Torx fastener. There's nothing wrong with the bolt that we're supplying or the product, but those Allens, are pretty limited on how much torque they can support. So we would either lower the torque rating or provide a different type of fastener, like a Torx, which has a lot more surface area and better engagement. So that's likely the direction we'll be going. If you currently have it, don't stress out. You can install it. I think 98% of all the customers who install it don't have a problem with this. But maybe just be mindful as you're tightening it.
Yeah, and it's not out of spec for that fastener. It's just you need to have a quality, a quality hex tool.
Don't use like an angle one.
Most of the problems are derived from people using just kind of a cheap hex key, and they'll start rounding, and then it needs all it can get to the torque level we need for that bolt.
You definitely want to use a proper 3/8
driver, but even the bit itself, there's
bit has to be good
definitely
quality.
Varying qualities of that, and if you're going to like Harbor Freight for your tools.
Some of the people who've had issues with it, we ask them for their information, and they appear to have reputable stuff, But if the bit's not pushed in all the way, that's like you can easily have the amount of engagement.
Yeah.
If it's not down all the way, and if it's already kind of munged from the last time you did it, then the bit doesn't go down all the way. So you might have to like tap it down with a little hammer. So there's some tricks. There's a reason why these are stripping, but we'd like to make it more user friendly. So Does the B9 S4 work on a C8 A6, or would that require some development?
No, not at this time.
Does the what?
I'm assuming the B9 S4 tuning.
Yeah, I mean, all of our products have applications listed on them. So if you're asking about tuning, then yeah, it's different. We need stage 2 and stage 3 for B9 RS5. No problem. We are working on those. B9 RS5 stage 3 should be fucking bonkers.
Yeah. Stage 2, do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah.
The initial findings? So our initial testing right now, we are seeing very, very little to no need for a stage 2 file on an RS5.
I mean,
to the point where we very likely are not even going to do one. There's no power gain with freer flowing cats. The turbos are the restriction you're dealing with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of we're in one of those situations where why would we even bother doing that? There's no performance benefit to it. We haven't seen any fundamental reason we would need to do that.
I think the problem is, there has been limited performance modification options for RS5 guys for a long time, but companies came out with high flow cats a long time ago, even though there was no tuning to support it. And so, a lot of guys ran out and bought high flow cats or test pipes or whatever, and were running them with JB4s and getting whatever results they were getting. But now that we're doing the proper engineering on a tune with our high flow cats, which are very high flowing, Euro 4 specification high flow cats, but even with test pipes, there's literally 0 horsepower gain at the stage 2 level. With stock turbos, you have plenty of flow area through the factory catalytic converter, where no additional power is able to be created.
We're going to do some more testing, but everything we've got right now, it's not looking like we need to bother with
so
a stage 2.
At the stage 1, stage 2 level, our advice is likely going to be put your factory cats back on and get rid of these test pipes or whatever high flow cats you're running.
Yep.
Now, at stage 3 levels, that will likely change.
Yes.
As the flow levels increase. Then there very well will be a benefit. But with stock turbos right now, we're not seeing it. If we don't see any power benefit, then I don't think we're going to release a product just to support turning off a check engine light for no reason.
Yeah.
Your factory cats will keep your check engine light off. You'll be emissions and legal.
Yep.
And you'll have cleaner air coming out of your tailpipe and everything else.
Right now, we have very little reason to recommend it.
Yeah. So we will update you. We're still not done with the development, but our initial testing is not looking like
pretty early information right now. But
yeah. And frankly, at this point, for the industry, moving away from catalytic converter modifications, even for racing use, is good for everybody.
Yeah.
But if you're racing and you really want to make more power and there's power gains there, then we will support that for racing use. But for street stuff, this isn't even a discussion. Can you run B9 E8.5 Stage 2 without an intercooler? Do we?
No, we
we
require it.
Is it requirement?
The air temps get pretty toasty pretty fast on those.
I mean, can you do it while the car drive? Yes.
It'll drive. You'll hit thermal protections. You'll hit.
Is it an optimal tune that we would recommend going out and driving hard or on track? No. The safety features will limit boost and keep things safe, but it will not be an optimal driving experience for you, and it's not necessarily what's best for the motor either. So if you would like to do that and just do like a little pull here or there and not back-to-back pulls, you could probably get away with the stock intercooler for a little while you're waiting for your intercooler.
Pull. Like if you're doing a quarter mile, they get toasty too.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about you squirt through one gear onto the freeway and then lift.
Yeah.
You'd probably be okay with that for a limited amount of time, but we don't recommend that. We don't want you to have to go out and limit your power. So that's why it's required.
It sucks driving around hardware limitations.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering, if their intercooler's on back order for 2 months, can they find? Sure,
you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's not something we recommend.
Just dial it way back. but we don't recommend it. You could do it.
Yep.
Are you guys going to create a bolted supercharger for CREC engines? What does that mean?
Well,
A pulley?
Probably the pulley.
I don't think so. We discussed this, and since we have so many crank pulley options,
we have the lowers. There's no real reason to swap the upper on that, and those are limited in how fast you can spin them right now. Anyway, the magnetic clutches are not, not quite strong enough to do like a full like massive pressure or pulley ratio on those anyway. So, yeah, you don't need to eke out every last bit of diameter on that upper pulley.
Yeah. So, and we are not going to do that.
No.
Oh, by the way, we're doing a giveaway for 5 $100 gift cards in celebration of our 100th episode here. So we'll get to that in about 5-10 minutes. So hang around, and there'll be some questions if you can answer it first.
First answer some rando questions we have for you.
I know you guys saw a power reduction with valves unplugged on the 2.9 T. Is there something similar that is turned off on your 3.0 T tuning? I saw a post that someone was missing out on power this weekend on the S5 with valve removed on an EPL tune.
We went back and forth on this. On the 3-liter stuff, we haven't seen that's been enabled. We've had valves off and disabled on valves unplugged on all of our platforms in testing, and have not had a power reduction.
So this was RS5 specific.
RS5 specifically does do a power reduction with the valves unplugged, or if there's a fault in the valves.
Which we verified.
We verified, we replicated, we measured, everything was, we just issued a update to address that. But no, the 3-liter stuff, if memory serves me correctly here and everything I've talked about with our engineers, it's not a thing that we've seen.
Opinions on the new California cameras that detect exhaust sound. I've heard rumors about this. I mean, I live in California. I've heard this for a long time, though. Like, they had the rolling smog stations. They had the modified exhaust test. Well, when I was a kid, there was, there were like sniffers on the off ramps that would check your emissions.
On ramps.
And specifically, I got busted on the off ramp ones. But what was I going to say? Oh, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of loud exhausts. We don't do those here. We do ResX, which just creates, it removes one of their factory resonators and creates a slightly louder, augmented sound. I honestly think super loud exhausts are annoying. I mean, even back in the day when I was in my 20s and I was doing big turbo things, I always had exhaust systems. Yeah. I never ran super annoying loud, because it's just a great way to get in trouble, no matter what. If you have a fast car, you're going to want to drive fast. The last thing you need is for everyone in a half-mile radius to hear how fast you're going. So I honestly support it. I think loud exhausts are annoying, but it's America.
And there's a very big difference between a good sounding exhaust and just loud.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be ear bleeding.
I will say, it's, again, this is not politics, but generally I would say the level of freaking out by people online about everything in California is just way too high. We live here. We've built one of the most successful Volkswagen Audi tuning companies in the world here. We've done it as well or better than anyone else right here in Silicon Valley in California, in the Bay Area. So the other thing is, you see these type of laws, they're spreading across the country. So California may be the first one to do it, but this is just the way things are going. And like I've talked about, if your kind of MO is pollution and loud, annoying harassment of people's ears, there's probably not a great future for you in the U.S. Because everything is moving towards cleaner environmentally, quieter, more sane,
civil,
civil stuff, But I think generally anything in California just gets overblown, and a lot of it is politically motivated. But I'm just talking about what's actually happening here. It's not that bad. But you can go through our entire catalog. We do not make exhaust products that are loud. So I would say generally we don't really, that's not concerning to us, although it could be concerning to you and your freedom and your rights and things like that. And I'll leave that between you and your government.
And here's another example: is the California crap going to affect current tunes or only future tunes?
What California?
What
crap?
California crap? This is literally nationwide standards for everything that everybody's.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about any kind of carb effects many times on this show. You can go onto our 034 Uncut channel and go back and see our discussions about that. We have not changed anything in any of our tuning because of anything that's happened.
No,
and we are working with CARB to get EOs, to get CARB exempt files for our tunes and our intakes and some other products as well. So again, I think it's just too much. It's just kind of over dramatizing.
Yeah, and one of the things I don't know if we've talked about much is when we're doing those not certifications, but our testing for those exemptions. The very first thing we get when we're done with that testing is a 49 state EPA level sign off. That's just comes along with the package of getting testing to the level of a CARB exemption. We are immediately granted, once that testing passes, a 49 state.
But these are 49. I mean, these are federal mandates.
Yeah, this is
it's
not just a California crap thing. This is federally mandated.
The biggest issue for aftermarket tuning has been from the EPA, not CARB.
Yeah,
and it was escalated under Trump. So after Trump became president, the EPA created a whole new program to specifically go after aftermarket tuning companies. It has a name, you can look it up online, but this happened under Trump, and it's a federal thing, and it basically applies to just about every state. All the states except California, which California has its own, federal, but the CARB standards exceed federal in every case. But there are federal standards in every state, so. Will you release E85 files for S3? Assuming you mean like MQB S3, and yes, that is our goal. We're working on a whole new line of tunes and product releases for MQB tuning in general. One of my favorite things about 034 is that you all continue to develop older models when most companies are quick to move on and not look back. With that being said, is there anything else that we can look forward to in the future for the 3.0 TFSI platform?
I'm going to assume that's B8 platform.
Yeah.
So the supercharged B8 3-liter.
I think the nomenclature people are using now is 3.0 TFSI for the supercharged engine. I mean, I don't know if that's official, but I'm seeing that more and more.
Thanks, Audi, for calling them both 3.0 Ts.
Yeah. Yes, there is more coming. We are not done. We do like supporting older models, especially when people like to buy the older model stuff. When the older models die off and the sales volume drops, then we have to make some tough decisions about putting additional resources into products that won't sell.
Yeah. Now, trust me, I would love to have the time and resources to go back and revisit, chapter 1 of our, tuning and engineering effort, just to make like the most polished, perfect version of every generation of, product we've done in the history. Because, it all evolves. We have better processes and, more tools, better technology, better, just knowledge of everything that's needed to get these products to the level we're developing at now. I'd love to be able to go back and fix or just do apply those techniques to all of our ME7 or whatever files that are out there, but we wouldn't sell any.
Yeah. And the other thing you'll find that we do is we go much deeper into product modifications for each platform.
Yeah.
Other companies, they'll kind of go through, they'll see what sells on the market, and they'll do the top 3 or 4 things for each platform. But we go really deep. And so if you take a look at, like a Mk7 GTI, we probably have 50 products for that car that specifically fit
meaningful
that car.
Products,
not generic universal products, but GTI specific parts that we designed for that car. I don't think there's any other tuner that comes even close. That isn't just knocking off other. Yeah, there's
some that have a lot of products that are just.
Well, you'll just find that they're
catalogs of
knockoffs of the stuff that we've come up with. I have a B9 S5 with Bilstein coilovers and your anti-roll bars. Am I missing out by still using OEM wheels with PS4S tires, or should I get lighter weight wheels? You're not missing out a ton, but
I mean,
lighter wheels are better.
Yeah, unsprung weight is definitely a big thing, or a big problem.
The car will accelerate faster to some degree based on function of the weight, and also your car will handle better. So the unsprung weight is an enemy of handling, because you put a lot of inertia into the wheel and tire as it moves up and down.
Okay, so sorry. Somebody's asking, is this really live or a replay of the B9 Stage 3 announcement? Oh, well.
No,
now
we're
you
not
know,
even
'cause I'm
barely talking about
reading your comment.
No, it's live. It's our 100th live show.
Yes. Sorry, back to the
but
unsprung weight.
Someday in about a half an hour, this will no longer be live.
It will be a replay.
It does get a little confusing.
It is.
The space-time continuum.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Linear time.
What were we talking about?
Unsprung weight. And wheels.
Unsprung weight.
And
So, if you're looking for new wheels, and new wheels will allow you to put bigger tires under your car, then I would recommend it. I think our 20 by 10s, right?
For
the S5?
S5, either.
Yeah.
19s or 20s, yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be a really nice setup. You're going to be able to fit a lot more tire, and you will have better acceleration and handling. But it's not going to turn your car into a McLaren F1 or anything.
Yeah, tire choice will affect that as much as wheel. As far as how it feels too. Sidewalls, firmness. Just the way the tire itself complies to the road is going to affect feel and handling. Even just straight line cruising down the highway sensation as much as wheels will.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump into some of our trivia questions, which I guess our marketing team will be monitoring responses. Whoever responds with the correct answer first will be issued a $100 gift card. So first one, this is a pretty easy one. What is the origin of the 034 in the 034 Motorsport name? If you can answer that first.
Do we want to wait till we get an answer, or do we want to just row through these?
I'll throw two out there, and we'll come back. I like this one too. What hobby does Javad engage in outside of work that sometimes gets discussed on the live stream? So let's start with those two. And there are a number of good answers for the second question of what is a hobby that I enjoy outside of work. All right, let's see.
We have one for the hobby.
What?
Laurent.
Do you want to stick it in the...
Yeah, just throw it in there.
Then the first one on YouTube is going to be Brad Robin.
Okay, cooking is a valid answer.
Yep. So yeah, one of Javad's hobbies, cooking certainly.
Other suitable answers would have been speaker building and MILFs. Yep. So very good.
Brad Robin.
Grilling and smoking. Yep. Guns. All right.
Nope.
We got some. There we go.
I did get into guns during 2020, but I haven't.
Many people.
I have not touched my gun in a while. But if you fuck with me, I will touch it. Yes. All right, let's jump into some more questions.
Did we get one yet for the first?
Yeah, so the first one, Brad Robin, engineer.
Okay, good.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Right.
Wasn't on the original Audi, but
What was it?
That's the closest answer.
Yeah, engine code on the original Audi for the first question. What is the 034 and the 034?
We can live with that.
All right.
The judges will allow it.
We'll allow that. All right. The 034 was the part number, the prefix part number for all of the i5, the early i5 motors.
Specifically. So if you go back and you look at the 5-cylinder motor, the part numbers all started with 034. You could go look at the 4-cylinder motors of that day, and they were like 027 or 027, as we used to say it back in the day. 027. Yeah.
O?
Mm-hmm.
O and E?
Damn it.
Oh boy. How different are the 3.0T engines between the B9 and B8 minus the induction?
Everything.
Completely different motors.
Totally different motor.
New generation, new architecture. At the end of the day, they're kind of. I mean, what functionality is there? Like, is there valve lift that's been added?
Everything's been added. I mean, there's a variable cam on the B8. There's no valve lift. There's no.
You have dual variable cams.
Yeah, you got valve lift. You've got obviously, your heads are basically mirrored from what it is in the B8.
Yeah.
You've got a hot V.
Reverse induction.
You've got, it's you couldn't get much different.
Yeah.
You know, it might share like cylinder spacing, but like,
No,
it's a different crank. It's a
they're
different,
similar
you know,
dimensionally.
Dimensionally,
but
there's
that's
some
about it.
similarities that are just kind of always shared among the bag.
I mean, the
development.
4.0T and 3.0T share the same dimensions, you know, as far as cylinder spacing and cylinder bore size. And
Right.
stroke
So a lot
and
of stuff like
everything.
that is just common among.
But that's all superficial
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. Very, very, very little, I'm assuming, would bolt from one to the other.
Any plans for 3x5 banners for people's garages? I'd love to rock one. Do we not do that?
We do not for customers.
Oh, let's do that.
Dealers,
Let's
Yeah,
come up with a
why don't we just sell
customer one.
swag?
Well, the dealer ones are dealer specific,
Yeah, so
but we
yeah,
should come up with
yeah.
one that's, you know,
Yeah.
that can be for the end user.
Yep.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
Marketing will write that down. Okay, let's throw out another question. What makes Dynamic Plus products stand out from the rest? If you have a good answer to that, there's not one answer, there are many answers. And let's see. And then based on the live responses that we've made in the past, what is usually the first product we recommend for someone who has a bone stock vehicle looking to improve their handling? There is usually that kind of one thing that Nate and I go to. So if you have a valid response to that as well. What's an RAL?
Rolling anti-leg.
Oh, rolling anti-leg for
You
B9
guys
S4.
really want that? I mean, you got brake boosting.
Yeah, there's this whole package of features coming.
There'll be a
out.
bunch of advanced features coming.
We're finishing up some other stuff
we-
before we
yeah, we're-
finalize that.
Stealth S4
Okay, for which one?
for the density design one. The research that goes into ensuring the experience for the customer is safe, refined, powerful for all combined.
For the Dynamic
It's
Plus?
for- yeah.
Yep.
I can't argue with that.
Yep.
That sounds wonderful.
And then let's see.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if you guys can even hear Sean. Let me get you switched over here. That might be better. Did you have one
First
for the?
one here is going to be here. I will screenshot this.
Cool. All right.
This is the first one.
Can you put them underneath the
Yeah.
questions too? They're kind of like
Yeah.
stuck at the top there.
What's the fastest time you produced on an S5 3.0T with TTE 710? We have not run an S5 yet here. Currently, most of our product development is on a S4
Yep.
and an SQ5. So,
Yep.
but if you'd like to, I mean, I think it's safe to say that you'll be able to run low 10s in the 135 mile an hour range in an S5.
Yeah. What was his trap? It was.
We've done
Yeah, it was
over
up there.
138
Yep.
easily.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, you can have a 10-second streetcar in an S5.
Oh God, yeah. No, 10 seconds is yes.
Without even trying like full weight.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like easily like 10.5 to 10.9.
Without anything else.
Just
yeah.
yeah.
Prepped the vehicle. Yeah, you're going to be knocking on
Prepped in the nines.
low 10s and into 9s.
Yeah. Once you start prepping and really getting serious about going fast, you can get into the 9s.
Yeah.
We are working on producing some official times for any of you who are interested, just as a way of proving our products. That's
Yep.
something we're committed to doing.
Yep.
So stay tuned for more of that. We do have some really fast draggy runs that we could share, but one of them's a little bit too downhill for us, and some of the DA has not been very optimal, so we're trying to.
And that's
get a lower
we're
DA.
not sitting here just shooting for a draggy run to develop these files. We're doing them, on dynos and on tracks and on
Yeah.
We're draggy's kind of it's a nice if all the stars align and you get a good DA and everything happens, you can pull off a good draggy run,
Yeah.
which is where you see the records getting set. But to sit and wait and hinge a tune on a draggy run or
No.
even a quarter mile time is kind of tough.
Okay, question number 4, or is this 5?
5.
This will be question 5. Last question for the last gift card. When convincing your significant other you want to purchase 034 Motorsport products, what is the best method of convincing them? There is one answer here that we will accept.
I don't think we talked about the sway bar. I'm sorry, we talked about the gentleman that entered the first
Oh, the handling mod.
handling mod.
For sure. We got one.
We got one, but we didn't announce it.
Okay, so who got
It's
the
on
handling
bottom.
mod?
Leaf,
down there,
I'm
okay.
gonna let you murder that one.
We have
Leaf?
Gavin London.
Luke
Life.
Like Leaf Erickson.
Gavin
So yeah,
London
rear.
is the first one
rear-
for the question real quick.
Okay. Rear sway bar is generally our first handling mod that we do recommend on most of the Audis because they're so push tendent. That really helps kind of liven up the car and make it a much more sporty, performance oriented handling.
And it's a low compromise product. It doesn't hurt the ride or handling the ride or NVH or anything
relatively
like that.
cheap and easy to put in.
Yeah. The rear ones are usually cheap and easy. The front
The
ones
fronts are
can
getting
be
more
very
of a nightmare.
difficult
Depends
to
on the
use.
platform.
Yeah. What are the B9 RS5 expected main component changes hardware? Also, is APR's B9 RS5 carbon air filter functional or only aesthetic? We haven't tested
Yeah,
or
we haven't
seen
tested
the APR product, so we can't comment on that. But as far as required mods, I mean, Stage 1 does not require anything.
Doesn't require it, no.
Yeah.
No.
You'll definitely benefit from an
hardware-wise,
intercooler.
Yeah,
and
intercooler's
air
huge
filter.
if you really want to.
Air intake.
Yeah, and an intake. It is huge if you want to put the power down for sustained periods. If you want to if you're doing quarter mile or track driving, you will benefit from an intercooler.
Yeah. But as Stage 3 comes out, you'll obviously need the Stage 3 turbo kit and a high pressure fuel pump.
Yep.
We also will be releasing Stage 1 Plus and Stage 1 Plus, which will be Stage 1 with high pressure fuel pump, which can bring
Well,
the
that's
power
already
on
that's
sooner.
already out.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I guess we already have that. Yeah. So yeah, but they'll be. We're just in the very beginning stages of that.
And you did it right. It was Leaf.
Yes. I learned about that in like 3rd grade.
I'm sorry.
He's
I grew up in Maine.
often considered to be the first person to discover North America. I think he landed in Nova Scotia or somewhere like that.
I probably should have known that.
Can you talk about the drivability of the TTE 710? Yeah, I mean it's the same. It's the same as Stage 1, Stage 2. It's a slightly bigger turbo than stock. I mean, it's definitely bigger.
It's definitely bigger. There's
Extra 100
a
horsepower
little more
or whatever.
lag there, but
Yeah.
the remapped shift points in the transmission, I think, make up for a lot of that now.
I don't think you would know that you were driving a Stage 3 car until you got your foot in it, and then your eyeballs would tell you that
It did the Star Wars,
it's not Stage
warp,
1.
or warp speed, light speed thing.
Mm-hmm. Or like the screaming of the passenger in your seat. For 3.0T supercharged platform, what is requiring rods that you guys are offering? What power adder is coming? We haven't seen the need for rods yet. There are more power adders coming. Rods aren't failing a lot, but it is a way to make the motor stronger for upcoming power mods, no matter what they are, whether they're from us or from anyone else. But yeah, I mean, we aren't blowing up motors. Our customers are not. They're not because of rod failure.
No.
And
No, it's supporting some upcoming stuff.
yeah, there's more power coming. But I think at this point, and probably in the near future, it's going to be, which is usually when you build a motor, it's a safety. It gives you that extra margin of safety. So if you do get some extra detonation, if your fuel mix is off, or you get some bad fuel, or I don't know,
It's
a
tough.
spark plug
Those will usually
misfires.
take out a piston before
Yeah.
they're rub. It's for some upcoming power adders and.
Well, we've had over the years motors bend a rod and the piston was fine,
We have, yes.
and which then takes out the
Yeah,
piston.
but that's an increase in power level more than necessarily a
Yeah.
I guess a detonation or
It's hard to say though. I mean, you're making a lot of power, and
Yeah, right.
did it
You're on the
pre-detonate a
line
little
of
bit?
what
Yeah.
they'll handle,
So,
yeah.
so it's specifically that extra margin of safety, but right now there's not a big need for it. I'm in the Northwest where 93 isn't available, so I'm stuck with the 91 tune on my B9 S5. Is there any chance of a 92 octane tune for the B9 down the road?
Everything I've seen, the 92 that you guys get in the Northwest is honestly, it's unfortunately not far off from our 91.
It's about, we've been dealing with this for years.
Yep. We've tried to do some 92 specific files for some people, and it wasn't worth. Yeah, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
You're not giving up much, if anything,
No.
over 91 by running 92, unfortunately. The 93 is a lot better, and the problem with the fuel octane ratings is that the number doesn't tell the whole story.
Right.
There is more going on in the fuel than just the lab octane rating. So you have these other additives that make the fuel more or less volatile, that cause it to detonate more easily, and but the 92 octane that you guys get in the Northwest performs about the same as 91. I mean, it's just maybe a tiny.
It might run a little bit cleaner on the knock, on if you're monitoring knock, but it wasn't enough to
Well, we literally had to.
We went up there. We did days of dyno testing
Yeah.
up there specifically for that at one point. And it was the same as 91.
Here's the point:
was releasing.
92 isn't between 91 and 93 as far as power numbers go. It's not. It's pretty much over on the 91 side.
And there might be some really good 92 somewhere that's maybe a little bit better, but we can't calibrate for a station of 92 that's happy.
Right. Hi, I was just wondering if the camber plates for the MQB platform have too much camber with the CV joint mount. No.
So with the lower ball joint?
Well, we haven't seen that on.
Well, it depends on what's too much camber for you. It's going to get you a lot of camber. Too much
from the camber plates
with the lower mount.
What was the question?
With the ball joint mount as well.
What was the question? It was specifically about camber plates.
It was camber plates.
Yeah, but then it asks, but with the CV joint mount.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with ball joints.
Well, what's a CV joint mount? I think he's talking the lower ball joint.
No, he's talking about if you have too much camber, you will pull the CV shaft out of the.
Okay, if that's what the question is, no, we've never.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Okay.
The camber plates alone will not do it. Now, when you start playing with ball joints, you can overextend the shaft out of the actual CV, the constant velocity joint.
Mm-hmm.
We have actually seen that on a product that we're working on for the Q3, where we're raising it, but it pulls, it basically moves the center line between the wheel bearing and the inner CV further apart from each other, and there is a certain amount of tolerance there. The CV joints and the shaft can accommodate some amount of variation there. But once you max it out, at some point the shaft just pops out. I mean, nothing terrible happens, but the shaft comes out of the joint, and that shaft can no longer send
Nothing
torque.
terrible happens. You just can't go anywhere anymore.
Nothing like blows up or anything like that. So we have not seen that with. That does not happen with the camber mounts, and specifically the camber mounts actually move things closer together. But the ball joint can become an issue. Now, on our production ball joint, with the specs that we recommend on our site, there are no issues with lower. We've tested it. We have lots of people running it.
Yeah, it's been run on track.
Yeah. But now, if you start combining, you get out to like 6 degrees of camber or something, that's outside of probably what we're recommending.
Yeah, if you're just going for a bunch of track and you've got like maybe your I don't even know how you run your camber mounts opposite, so you get a bunch more track maybe. And
so in that case, we haven't looked into it, but in the past we've made CV spacers that space the CV joint out, or longer axle shafts can be made as well. All right, we got 6 minutes or so.
They only answer what's convenient. No, it's
what? Who said that? How do you know that?
We're answering what we can in the live format.
Can you ask them, is there a question
Yeah.
that hasn't been answered?
There's a lot of questions we can't get to all the time.
I mean, we don't get to always all the questions.
We're answering what we can here.
There are quite a few ETA questions, and it's like, we've already answered these.
Yeah, we've got 3 different streams that questions are coming in on at a time, so yeah.
But we're literally answering almost every question.
We're trying to, yeah.
Including ones about our products failing, about product issues, about unhappy customers. We do answer them all. For example, will we do customizable burble files? No, we don't currently do that. It's probably not something we'll be doing. Will we be making a big brake kit for the B9? I believe so. Yes, we will be offering a 6 piston.
You did 6.
Those are 6 piston, yeah. I think we've settled on the 6 piston.
Yeah, it's a 390.
390 mil, really nice brake kit.
So that's basically what's on the S4.0.
It's on what's S4.0.
Is that a 6 or an 8 piston on that?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
It's either 6 or 8.
I believe it is.
It might be 8. No, it is 8, I think.
I
don't know. I mean,
it's
whatever it is. Yeah, it's the caliper.
See, it's live. We don't know like all the
caliper
details.
is like a foot long. Any updates on B8 A4 ZF8 tuning, KO4 tuning? No. B8 A4 tuning we have not prioritized over the other things we're currently working on.
No, we've got it. It's pretty far along, honestly, though, with the KO4 stuff.
Yeah.
And the car's pretty fun for an A4.
Yeah. But I don't think we're ready to release it right now.
It's not at a release point yet. No.
B9 2.0 T tuning, same thing. It just is not a priority, unfortunately. B9.5 TCU Stage 2.
Working on it. This is the thing with these updates is we're working on it. We know. Don't have an ETA until that's one of those things we're working on it.
Will 034 make mods for electric vehicles such as the Audi E-Tron lines? Yes,
Yep.
we will. Eventually, electric vehicles will become a thing in the aftermarket tuning industry. They currently are not. But there's no reason we can't modify and tune electric cars just like we do, internal combustion engines. They actually have very similar control systems and ECUs that run them.
They're diverging a bit now on some of the brand new chassis, but I mean, you can go back to like the E-Golf or the E-Tron. Those are
very similar.
Very similar. And then obviously it's just an evolution from those for the newer stuff.
But no, definitely, stay tuned over the next few years. But right now, it's mostly the customers aren't there. But people aren't buying electric cars because of performance. In most cases, it's for other reasons. Is that top thing a question or a statement?
No, it's a statement.
I just said that.
Some guy's still asking about it.
Yeah, they can't.
Yeah, no, we don't do custom burble tuning, and we don't have any plans to change the burbles.
I don't even know.
But we're always taking feedback.
Yep.
But we are at a point now where we have more people saying they like them a lot more, and we feel like we're at a good spot with them.
I don't even know what platform that's.
B8.
B8.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one to.
It's not. I mean, and we know people like burbles, and they are important, but it's not.
We're not trying
features.
to discount it. It's just something that like literally it's a cosmetic thing that everyone has a different opinion on. So
yeah. Eventually, we'll come out with the burble knob, but until then. What is the difference between the supplied TCU tune and the one that is purchased initially?
I'm assuming this is B9 3-liter.
Yes.
So that's the supplied tune is basically a update in the torque, the allowed torque and the torque management between the TCU and ECU, and that's it. That basically lets us unlock and calibrate the ECU to the amount of torque we need to.
We're almost out of time, but we have an entire
in the transmissions. Oh, okay. Thanks, Siri. The purchase one, a lot more changes in the TCU file. You're going to notice dramatic shift point speed.
A lot of people are referring to the Stage 1 TCU as a patch file. I guess that's perfectly
sort
fine,
of accurate, but it is a mapped file for a given amount of torque that we're producing.
Let's see.
Yeah, we are running out of time, guys.
Yeah, we're out of time.
We need Stage 2.9, Stage 3 files ASAP. Yeah, we're working on them.
If you've purchased Stage 3 and it's not on the server yet, be sure you're in communication with tuning
For the 3-liter, yep, we're getting stuff up.
Real quick, I wanted to just throw out that we released these magnetic oil drain plugs last week, and they've been selling really well. They're beautifully machined stainless steel, and they have a very powerful neodymium magnet in there to catch extra metallic particles that are in any of your fluids, and we have them for the oil pan and also for the hull decks as well. And you can see they're very magnetic.
Quite magnetic.
So, and they're a nice cheap little mod. Next time you're in there doing stuff, you can throw those in if you're interested. Anything else real quick?
I mean, we've got a stack of questions, but we can't get to all these.
Stock tuning TTE 710.
Stock downpipe. Yep, we're working on that next.
Yeah, we will be supporting that. Cool. Okay. Well, I think that's about it. Thank you for joining us on our 100th episode. Again, we love doing these. We really appreciate the questions and for hearing us out and listening. And
I think we replied to everybody that answered the questions. I want to say there might have been one we didn't announce, but we've got them all recorded, so we'll get back to you.
And we have all 5 winners, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got all the winners recorded, but I don't know if we.
Have you guys reached out to them yet?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, cool. All right, guys.
All right. Cheers. We'll see you next week.